Do you want to know what one of the most neglected commands in all the Bible is? Stay tuned. When I look around at the church, one of the most neglected commands in all of the Bible, I think, is found in Matthew chapter 18. Verse 15 says, "If your brother sins against you, go and tell him his fault between you and him alone. If he listens to you, you have gained your brother. But if he does not listen, take one or two others along with you, that every charge may be established by the evidence of 2 or 3 witnesses. If he refuses to listen to them, tell it to the church. And if he refuses to listen even to the church, let him be to you as a Gentile and a tax collector." For this video, I just want to focus on the first verse of that 3-verse set. Certainly, all those 3 verses are important, and I think all of them are probably neglected in the church. But for this video, to keep it short, just the first verse. Jesus says, when your brother sins against you, what you should do is go to him and talk to him directly, and then you can sort out your problems, and hopefully he'll repent. The problem, though, Jesus, is that that's kind of uncomfortable. It's hard to go confront somebody who's offended you. And a lot of times, you don't want to talk to them because you're mad at them. And so a lot of times what happens? "Hey, do you know what brother so-and-so did to me?" "No, tell me." "He's a no-good scumbag." Blah. Rather than go to the person who actually offended us or sinned against us, we go tell everybody else. And this is where we start to have a big problem with gossip and people being busybodies, and that's condemned in the Bible too. And a lot of facts get mixed up and they aren't communicated well, and we start telling people our side of the story without even going to get the perspective of the brother who offended us. So pretty soon the whole thing just becomes a big mess, and once this happens several times, the whole church, is pitted against each other, and there's people on certain sides, and we got all kinds of problems. And so you see the simplistic genius of what Jesus is saying to the church here. Jesus wants the church to be unified. And this is part of the process to make that happen. A lot of times when you sit down and actually talk to somebody who's offended you, you walk away with a perspective that's totally changed. Because it may be the case that that brother or sister had no idea that they had done wrong to you. Or it may be that you misunderstood their motives and you thought they did it maliciously and they didn't do it maliciously and they were trying to do something that was good, but you didn't see that from your perspective, and sitting down with them gives you the ability to understand where they're coming from. I can say from personal experience that verse 23 is usually all that you need. Usually when you sit down with a brother or sister one-on-one and you both love Christ, you're going to be able to talk through a problem, and you can forgive them if they need forgiveness, or you can repent if you've done them wrong. Most of the time we just need to understand where the other one's coming from. And when that happens, we usually don't have a problem. And truthfully, I've found that that's one of the best ways to get to know somebody in the church better. A lot of times when you have that conversation, they'll open up about a problem or a struggle or whatever that they may have that you had no clue about. And so that gives you the opportunity to support them, or maybe for them to support you, and to pray for each other, and the church becomes closer knit. And that sounds a whole lot better than congregations that are always gossiping about each other or hating on each other or divided into cliques because one person sided with one person because they have half the facts, and then there's the other side and they have half the facts, and it just continues on and on and on forever, and people hold grudges for years and years with their own brothers in the church because no one ever sat down one-on-one and resolved the problem. So I'd like to encourage you and myself, because it's still something I'm working on, to implement this into your life. Don't talk bad about people behind their back, or don't go to all your buddies and complain about how somebody wronged you. Go to that person. I'm not going to lie to you. It's kind of difficult, and sometimes it's uncomfortable, but it'll help us be the church in the Bible, and it'll help you to grow in Christian maturity. Hello? We do videos 5 days a week here. You should subscribe if you want more Bible-based videos. Do it now.